I'm gonna be honest with you. I really don't know. I don't know. Cause what you do?
You've met him before.
What did you do for me to be into it with you? Like the real thing. Diss songs back and forth.
Durk Banks, better known by his stage name Lil Durk, was arrested in October near Miami International Airport, allegedly on his way out of the country. He's accused of plotting to murder rapper Taekwon Bowman, better known as Quando Rondo. Federal prosecutors alleged in the previous indictment Lil Durk put a bounty on Quando Rondo's head after one of Rondo's associates shot and killed Durk's longtime friend and collaborator King Von in 2020.
So the feds just confirmed Lil Durk's alleged plan targeting Quando Rondo's cousin. This news is sparking a whole lot of buzz, especially considering the past tension between these camps. Let's break down what the feds revealed, what it means for Durk and his crew, and how this whole thing even started. So what did the feds reveal? Well, for starters, they caught up to Lil Durk and his illegal business. As you probably heard by now, Durkio is locked up, and he ain't going nowhere anytime soon. Now this comes as the aftermath of one of the longest and most known rap beefs in hip-hop. Durk and Quando have been in an ongoing feud for quite some time. And if you think that Quando had nothing to say about Lil Durk's arrest, well, you're wrong. Even though Lil Durk is 6 years older, Quando, who once even called him Big Bro, has made it clear he's not backing down. Following Durk's arrest, Quando released a new track called Life Goes On, where he raps about missing his late cousin, Lil Pob, and reflects on losing him to gun violence. In the song, Quando talks about feeling the pain and says, "Life goes on. I know how you feel like the rain coming down." However, most seem to think that with this track, Quando sounded more focused on honoring his cousin's memory than on his rivalry with Durk. But these two spoke up about each other plenty of times before. But Durk knows about Quando, and he mentioned him plenty of times. A few years back, during a conversation with DJ Academics, he said this about Quando.
His career, Quando's career, has been affected because
Quando's a little boy.
Well, I mean, that's his
I
artist.
used to have him like this.
What do you mean, Quando?
Saying 63rd. Me and Vaughn. Yeah.
There's video of this?
Google it. No, I ain't having it in the head. Like,
Oh, yeah,
but I'm
yeah.
telling like, you the same motherfucker saying fuck 63rd. So we don't bring hate.
Getting back to Durk and the feds, they are now pointing to Lil Durk as the one behind the plan to take out the cousin Quando Rondo mentioned in his new track. And there's apparently plenty of evidence stacking up. As for Durk's recent arrest, it took place on October 24th in Broward County, Florida. Turns out Durk had plans to leave town that day, but he didn't just book one flight. Instead, he allegedly reserved 3 flights to Italy, Switzerland, and Dubai, likely trying to throw off law enforcement. His actual plan was to escape on his private jet, seemingly suspicious of the feds' moves. But before his arrest, 4 other members from his OTF crew had already been detained. Plus, not to mention, they wanted Durk and they wanted him bad.
If they want you, they're gonna get you. This non-extradition thing is all nonsense. If they want you, they'll figure it out. The United States is going to get you if they want you, period. I believe that. So you're not safe anywhere. If you're known to be someplace and they know you're there, you're not safe anywhere.
But he ain't the only one tangled up in this mess. His crew, OTF, are in it too. Reports say they had a plan in 2022 to get revenge on Quando Rondo because of what happened to King Von. Prosecutors have now indicted all 5 individuals in the U.S. District Court over the 2022 meant for Quando that instead took the life of his cousin, Lil Pop. The indictment revealed in a Los Angeles court identifies these men: Kayvon Vonnie Grant, DeAndre D-Day Wilson, Keith Flocka Jones, David Brownie-Ez Lindsay, and Asa Boogie Houston, with charges that include conspiracy to commit murder for hire resulting in death, and the use of firearms, including a machine gun, in a violent crime. According to the prosecutors, they used an OTF credit card to buy plane tickets to California on August 18, 2022, with plans to monitor Quando. Messages from Durk via iCloud warned them not to use any trackable payment methods. After arriving, they found out where Quando was staying in Los Angeles. Vonnie later flew in from Miami on a private jet to oversee the operation. He booked the team into the Universal City Hotel and provided firearms for the job, even renting 2 cars, a white Infiniti and a white BMW sedan, for the mission. They tailed Quando's black Escalade and eventually fired at it. While Durk hoped his plan to book flights to 3 different countries would allow him to avoid arrest, the feds were already prepared using wiretaps and tracking devices. These sources captured proof of Durk's awareness of potential arrest, along with threats against possible witnesses. Moreover, it's now come to light through court documents that there was a rat within Durk's crew, someone he considered a brother and had rapped about before. They were often seen together and even appeared in videos, all while this person was secretly working with law enforcement. Ironically, Lil Durk even mentioned helping this individual get back on his feet in a track on his Loyal Bros album. This dude goes by the name of OTF Jam. To make matters even worse, Jam received around $50,000 from Lil Durk and often spoke highly of their friendship, sharing how Durk had been there for him when he needed him the most.
I'm saying, in my old time in jail, that stayed, bro. Like, before the money, you know what I'm saying? That was bro. Like, I remember when the money wasn't there, first I'm gonna say you 50, I got you, and I gave my lawyer money and everything when I'm fighting my case.
I ain't gonna lie, Durk come through.
All that, like,
Durk come through.
that's sure. I don't give no fuck what nobody say, like, sure. I know, I'm a real witness, like.
A lot of niggas can't say he ain't seen the checks.
Like, in my life, my whole time in jail, I was straight.
Jam rejoined the OTF in 2022 after serving a 12-year prison sentence, and was quickly embraced by the crew. However, it's suspected that he might have made a deal with the feds, as he allegedly wore a wire during his interactions with OTF. You see, court documents show that Jam was in communication with the Popos, who appeared to have inside knowledge about the group's activities. All in all, Durk is accused of issuing orders to carry out a hit, placing a bounty on the target, and offering compensation, including music deals and other perks, upon completion. Before the attempt on Quando Rondo's life, Durk had experienced a major loss back in 2020, when King Von, a close associate within the OTF, was shot outside an Atlanta club. Later, it was determined that Lil Tim, one of Quando's affiliates, was involved in Von's death. Now, authorities claim that Durk wanted revenge, going as far as hiring people to take out Quando. Although this kind of retribution isn't unheard of in certain circles, it has led many to question what caused the intense hatred between Quando and Durk to the point where each would consider taking out the other's crew members. For Durk, the loss of King Von seems to have fueled this alleged plan, pushing him toward masterminding a retaliatory move. To get a clearer picture of this beef, let's trace back to the origins of the conflict between Quando Rondo and Lil Durk. So the feud between Quando Rondo and Lil Durk traces back several years, though it didn't actually begin with them. While it's hard to pinpoint exactly when their rivalry started, it's widely believed that the tension stems from the tragic death of King Von in November 2020. You must know that King Von was signed to Lil Durk's label Only the Family, while Quando Rondo was with NBA Youngboy's label Never Broke Again. And earlier in 2020, rumors of tension between these two camps had started circulating on social media. This tension escalated when King Von posted photos of himself with NBA Youngboy's ex-girlfriend, Jania. Although Von insisted that their connection was strictly musical, the images still stirred up drama, particularly between Von and YB. What's more, Quando frequently stepped in to defend his label head. Social media pressure was hot, and it made Von address the speculation during a November 5th, 2020 interview with DJ Academics, where he denied any beef with Youngboy.
So you wouldn't have no rap beef? You wouldn't be having no rap beef then?
Nah, hell no, ain't no rap beef. What? Ain't no rap beef, and it ain't no real beef unless somebody got shot or something, or unless somebody.
People told me you and Youngboy was beefing or something like that.
I know they
said something about it. What happened, Von? What's going on with you, man?
They be saying that a lot. It's like we got the same interests and holes, and then you know how the internet will try to make it.
Don't tell me I got problems over girls.
No, it's the internet, gang. It's the you know, they try to make it like that because it's the internet. You see what I'm saying?
Tragically, within 24 hours of that interview, King Von's words seemed to come back to haunt him. At around 2:15 a.m. on November 6th, 2020, a confrontation broke out between Von's crew and Quando Rondo's team outside Monaco Hookah Lounge in Atlanta, Georgia. The altercation quickly escalated to gunfire, with law enforcement joining the chaotic shootout. 6 people were shot, and 3 of them ultimately died. King Von sustained gunshot wounds, and although he was able to reach the hospital, he later succumbed to his injuries. Following the incident, the police arrested Lil Tim, a member of Quando Rondo's crew, for Von's death. Nearly 2 years later, however, murder charges against Tim were dropped under Georgia's Stand Your Ground law. This decision aligned with statements from Rondo's camp, which claimed that Von was the aggressor, attacking Rondo without provocation. Security footage from outside the club appeared to back this claim, showing Von throwing punches at Rondo's crew. Quando felt blindsided by the situation, fearing for his life. Tim popped up from the other side of the car and let his Nina do the talking. The rest is history. Though Quando Rondo and his crew were cleared of charges, Quando has continued to face criticism from Von's fans and friends over Von's death. Now, Quando has been asked to speak about the night of King Von's death multiple times, but he usually avoids going into detail. When pressed, he often responds vaguely, saying things like, "When God calls you home, you gotta go." His reluctance to discuss the incident hasn't stopped the tension between him and Lil Durk from escalating, though. Although Rondo didn't have any issues with Durk before, Von's death put him directly in Durk's sights, especially given Rondo's dismissive attitude about the shooting. It wasn't just Von's fans who took issue with Rondo. His unapologetic stance on the tragedy, as well as his public support for Lil Tim, has only worsened the tension. Just months after the incident, Rondo celebrated his friendship with Tim by flaunting matching iced-out watches on his Instagram stories, captioned, "Me and my twin." Over the years, Rondo has continued to express his dislike for King Von's former label head, Lil Durk. In a 2023 interview, he made it clear that he doesn't have any positive feelings toward Durk. Quando also expressed his deep loyalty to Lil Tim, who was sitting beside him, saying stuff like, "I'd die for this man. If I had to lay my life down, I'd do it." He believed Tim would do the same for him, emphasizing the strong bond they shared. Following Von's death, Durk and Quando continued exchanging jabs on social media, intensifying their feud and entertaining fans from both camps. But the tension took a darker turn on August 19th, 2022, when Rondo and his cousin Lil Pob were ambushed at a gas station. As they were filling up their tank, 3 men arrived in a white vehicle and opened fire. While Rondo emerged unharmed, Pob was rushed to the hospital, where he was later pronounced dead. Heartbroken, Rondo shared a tribute to Pob on Instagram, mourning his loss. A viral video also surfaced, capturing Rondo's emotional reaction in the aftermath of the shooting. Durk didn't hold back from adding fuel to the fire, sampling Rondo's cry of "no" from the incident in his own song. The lyrics obviously jabbed at Rondo's grief. The feud carried over into March 2023, when both artists were set to drop albums in the same month. But then, the whole thing started slowly dying out. Quando's change and consequences. Since converting to Islam, Quando seems to be stepping back from his rivalry with Lil Durk. While Quando's path has shifted, Lil Durk's future remains uncertain, especially now that he faces a federal murder-for-hire charge related to the death of Quando's cousin. If convicted, he risks life imprisonment, or even the death penalty. Lil Durk's arrest shocked fans and halted what had been a dangerous feud, but that's not all that it did. It also disrupted his role as a community hero. You see, Durk recently received multiple keys to Chicago areas like Broadview and Bellwood, honoring his work with his Neighborhood Heroes Foundation. However, after his arrest on October 25, 2024, Broadview revoked the honor, and the village ended its partnership with his nonprofit. Mayor Katrina Thompson stated that while the justice system presumes innocence, the village held its public partners to high ethical standards. Although Bellwood has yet to revoke its key, many believe it might follow Broadview's lead. But Durk's fate is getting more and more complicated as he waits for his trial behind bars. Here's why. Durk is now facing even more charges tied to that deadly ambush from 2022. The latest indictment doesn't just charge him with plotting a hit on Quando. It adds on some intense stuff, like using interstate resources to arrange murder-for-hire and firearms charges. Durk's situation got worse when investigators uncovered that he might have funded the whole operation. Records allegedly show that he and OTF associates booked flights, bought ski masks, rented luxury cars, and set the shooters up in hotels. And when the heat was on, the feds say Durk even tried to flee the country, booking flights to places like Dubai and Switzerland, though he didn't end up taking them. Now, with these new charges, Lil Durk and the rest of the crew could be looking at life behind bars if they're convicted. The case isn't going away anytime soon, and it's clear that the feds have stacked a lot against them. But do you think there's a way that Durk might beat these charges? Will we ever see him walk out as a free man? Let us know all about it down in the comments section. And make sure to check this video out next.
Lil Durk came out with a new album, and he decided to speak on Quando Rondo and how he wept when his homie Lil Pab passed. That's right, Durk just took the diss game to a whole different level. Even though this Quando Rondo diss came in real hard, it's hardly a surprise at this point. The beef between the OTF and NBA crew has been around for a moment, and it's something that we've been accustomed to at this point. Tension has been brewing between Durk's OTF crew and Quando Rondo's Never Broke Again for a long, long time. But the incident that we're all still talking about, and one that changed hip-hop history, is the one from November of 2020. Things took a tragic turn when one of Rondo's crew members, Lil Tim, fired shots that ended the life of King Von outside a hookah lounge in Atlanta. On the night of November 6th, 2020, Von and his crew got into a heated clash with Quando Rondo's crew outside the Monaco hookah lounge. Things quickly spiraled out of control and shots were fired, and King Von got hit multiple times. They rushed him to the hospital, but sadly, he couldn't make it and passed away that same day. He was just 26 years old. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation looked into the incident and reported that 2 lives were lost and 6 people got wounded. One of them, who was also treated for a gunshot wound, got nabbed by the cops for King Von's murder. This dude, Timothy Leaks, also known as Lil Tim, is a 22-year-old rapper affiliated with Quando Rondo. This was just one of the terrible losses that Lil Durk had to live through. He also lost his brother D-Thang and a member of the OTF who went by the name of Chino. In an interview that he did for a magazine, Durk opened up a bit about what it's like having to cope with such a loss. He said that he continues to pursue the aspirations of his loved ones who have passed away in order to honor their desires. We had dreams when we were just kids. My brother had his own goals, Von had his goals, Chino had his goals, so I've taken on all of our collective aspirations. If I were to give up or engage in foolish actions, it would be as if their dreams were in vain. But Durk was not the only one who suffered and went through tough times. The little homie Quando Rondo didn't have it easy either. He too lost people who he considered family. Quando Rondo is grieving the loss of Lil Pab, a 23-year-old who was tragically shot and killed in Los Angeles on August 19th. Quando Rondo was present at the crime scene and captured on film, visibly in pain, as the lifeless body of Lil Pab was taken away from the shot-up black Cadillac Escalade. People felt sorry for Quando, but they reminded him that such loss comes when you're involved in street life. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. Peace comes when peace is sown. Condolences to the families. Any loss is painful. A few days after that, Quando Rondo took things to IG. He paid a tribute to Lil Pab by sharing a few posts, one of which featured a photo of himself and Pab dressed in all blue, surrounded by guns and beer bottles at their feet. In the caption, he simply wrote, "My cuz," accompanied by a crying emoji. Additionally, Quando Rondo posted a couple of commemorative photos on his Instagram stories. In one of them, with Tupac's Life Goes On playing in the background, he expressed his sorrow, saying, "You hurt my heart, cuz." But both Durk and Quando had to move forward, and both of them found some peace in doing what they do best, make music. Durk came out with a brand new album not too long ago, and it's safe to say that the album is a successful project. He finally released his highly anticipated album, Almost Healed, after a delay caused by a feud with NBA YoungBoy. Over the past few months, Durk has been generating excitement with updates and teasers, and he recently dropped the album's first single, All My Life, featuring J. Cole. The single quickly climbed the Billboard Hot 100, matching the success of Durk's highest charting single, Drake's Laugh Now, Cry Later. This single gave fans a glimpse of what they can expect from Almost Healed. The track list is impressive, with notable guest artists and producers. Features from Kodak Black and Future have sparked excitement, as their collaborations are likely to become summer jams. However, what surprised people was the unexpected appearance of Alicia Keys. She lends her vocals to the album's intro, titled Therapy Session, which Durk previewed in the music video for Pelcoat, the album's second single released prior to its official launch. Quando has been making music too, though. On the other side of the beef, an album has been cooking up as well. Lil Durk and Quando Rondo were throwing subtle shots back and forth on the gram, hinting at a possible epic album showdown. Even though it never took place, we still some shade being thrown back and forth. A few months back, Durkio was hyping up his hotly anticipated joint, The Voice 2.0, for a minute, while Rondo ain't sitting idle either, gearing up for his own dope project called Recovery. This is the second project coming from Quando Rondo. It was released on March 24th, 2023. While this was mostly a solo venture, the album does feature a guest appearance from his homie YoungBoy, Never Broke Again. Earlier this year, Rondo dropped the cover art for his banger on Instagram, teasing a drop in March. But that ain't all, fam. He also revealed that it's a heartfelt tribute to his late homie, Lil Pab. He told his fans and to all of those who are listening, "One more month, I put my heart in this album. Seen a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. I lost my right-hand man in front of my eyes. I love you, thug. I'm going #1 for you, big brah." And guess who was listening? None other than Durkio himself. Before you know it, an IG story appeared on his account saying, "I can drop this single and Cut the streets on God, your release date ain't safe, son. But that wasn't the end of it. Quando had to clap back at Lil Durk in some way. Quando later replied saying, "Drop that shit, we all on a time schedule?" The dust settled between Durk and Quando for a few months. However, once Almost Healed got out, you can bet that Durk came up with something nasty for Quando. Matter of fact, he came in with one of the most brutal diss tracks that we've seen in a while now. Durk has been quiet in the social media sphere about the whole beef situation that he's got going on with the NBA boys, Youngboy and Quando Rondo. While that may be the case in real life, on wax, he's a different animal, man. On his track Same Side, we saw him go in, and boy did he go in hard. He wants hella smoke with everyone and anyone, Quando Rondo included. In this particular track, he talks about the tragic deaths of two individuals, his close friend and frequent collaborator King Von, and the close friend of Quando Rondo, Lil Pab, whose passing led Quando to express his grief through tears and screams at the scene. Both incidents were captured on camera, with footage showcasing the presence of police and medical personnel attending to the victims. Additionally, the footage captured Quando Rondo's emotional reaction as he cried out and expressed his devastation by repeatedly saying no. That's why Lil Durk went on to rap, "Y'all left when broke down when your broke dad turned to a crybaby." People were shook when they got around to the lyrics of Same Side. Comments online say it all. This was pure diss energy from Durk. He's on demon time again. This rap evil as hell, bro. The spirit of Von was speaking through him. Ooh, talk about shots fired, this was a whole missile strike. Lil Durk reminds us just how unpredictable he can be. Just when we thought that he's turning a new page and letting all the trouble go, well, he comes in with a diss for Quando Rondo. Although he did pay homage to those who have passed, ensuring that their memories live on through his music. Moreover, he showed us how good he is in expressing his emotions and confronting painful experiences. But he's still raw, and he's still hood. On the other hand, even though he isn't quite on the success level as Durk, Quando Rondo has also been putting in work and trying his hardest to make some new music that will live up to the expectation. With the Durk diss coming in, we might see Quando Rondo hop on wax yet again and cook something up as a response. But with all the trouble that he had in the last few years, who knows if that's the course of action that Quando will settle for. But what y'all think? Was this one of the nastiest, most savage disses that we've seen from Durk? Do you think Quando will clap back with a diss of his own? Boss Trail, K.I., Modell. Those are just a few of all the names of the people who allegedly lost their life at the hands of King Von. Von always had a rap in the streets, and many wondered where that rep came from. Well, have no doubt, it's because Von was a stone-cold killer. No question about it. His voice sounded sweet and tender to a lot of people, but he was far from sweet as Lil Durk finally spoke about all the rappers that were murked by King Von. Rodney Stewart was a 17-year-old GD member who was found shot in the back of the head in 2012. He was gunned down in an alley in Chicago just 2 days before he was set to leave for Iowa, where he had a job and a place to stay. Boss Trail told his grandmother a year prior that he was in trouble and had some enemies, but that she didn't take him very seriously. Boss Trail was talking about the rising tensions between the GDs and the BDs at the time. Despite his efforts to get away from danger by moving from his grandmother's house to his mother's, and then to his girlfriend's family, he still faced instability and missed a lot of days at school. His girlfriend says he was trying to make something work and he was looking forward to moving to Iowa, but she is not comfortable discussing who may have killed him. Boss Trail's family believes that they know who the shooter is, but there's not enough evidence because no witness is going to step forward. The case officially remains unsolved to this day. However, they'll have a pretty good idea of who was behind the hit. It's believed that the people behind the hit were not only King Von, but also T-Roy and J-Money. Richard Modell is yet another tragic story and another name that King Von is allegedly responsible for. The hit on Modell also took place back in 2012. Some of the circumstances are similar to those of the hit on Boss Trail. Like Boss Trail, Modell was only 17 years old when his life came to a close. According to the police, Modell and his 18-year-old cousin were going to meet a friend when someone shot at them in the 6300 block of South Rhodes Avenue. The cops suspect that Modell may have been specifically targeted due to a dispute between opposing gangs. It's said that Von, along with his crew, were circling around the block in their car, looking for ops. They recognized Modell and his cousin on the street. They hesitated very little. They pulled the car right up next to him and started firing off shots. And before you know it, one body was cold and the other was severely injured. It's interesting to notice that after Modell's death, King Von tweeted about Modell on a few occasions. Damn, Modell got killed in October and crack. Who gonna get killed in November? Stay tuned. And to 2 years later, King Von tweeted again about Modell, saying, "I remember Modell with the one eye from STL. It's f***ed up what happened to him." According to the police, Modell didn't make it, and his cousin was shot multiple times and was in critical condition. However, unlike Modell, the police stated that they do not think his cousin had any connection to a gang. To make this story even more tragic, this happened only a few months after Modell's family already lost one member, Marlon Monroe. It was Richard's 21 years old brother who also was shot and killed just a little bit earlier that same year in the Woodlawn neighborhood. On May 29, 2014, Malcolm Stuckey was headed to his friend's birthday party in Chicago's Inglewood neighborhood. Before Stuckey arrived, King Von was already at the party. When Von spotted two ops at the party, he left after he was told not to cause any trouble by the party's host. However, the reason why Von left wasn't because he didn't want any smoke. He went to pick up a tool. He returned to the party shortly. Only this time around, he came around with a .40 cal Smith & Wesson. Stuckey, who allegedly wasn't in a gang, had just arrived at the party and was smoking a cigar on the sidewalk when King Von and fellow gang member Michael Wade approached from an alley. Fortunately for Stuckey, he was around some guys who were in fact gang members. This is why Von and his homie fired their weapons as they got closer. They hit Stuckey in the head, and he didn't make it. Two other people were also shot, but they survived. Bennett and Wade fled the scene in a car. King Von was arrested with charges of Stuckey's murder in 2014, but was later released in 2017 because the crucial witness failed to come forward and testify. It was probably because of fear of retaliation was just too big. Derek Johnson, aka P5, was a known Jarrow City set affiliate. On October 30th, 2012, he was spotted by Big A, J Money, and King Von. Being ruthless as they were, they immediately went after the rival gang member. P5 was struck by several bullets at the 6200 block of South Eberhard Avenue in Chi-Town, as Von and the other two of his companions started shooting at P5 on sight. A few minutes after the attack, the paramedics arrived at the scene, only to find P5's deceased body. It was too little too late. Folks generally believe that Von was in on the hit, but they also think that it wasn't him who smoked P5. Some say it was Big A. Others think it was J Money. Regardless, P5 was yet another victim of King Von and his bloodthirsty clique. Gakira Barnes was a respected and feared killer in Chicago's gang scene. Despite wanting to be a social worker, she succumbed to the temptation of the lifestyle around her and became an associate of gangsters. When her close friend Tuka was murdered, Kira set out on a path of revenge, rumored to have been the shooter that killed BD Savage, Odie Perry, in retaliation to Tuka's death. Kira became increasingly violent and eventually gained notoriety as an assassin. However, she too succumbed to the wrath of King Von and O-Block. Gakira Barnes was shot 9 times in the mouth, neck, and chest while walking near her rival gang's neighborhood. She tried to hold on after collapsing on a neighbor's doorstep, but she eventually died from her injuries. The identity of her killer is rumored to be Big A, King Von, and another member of O-Block. While King Von's involvement may seem unlikely, there's a complex relationship between them, with a mix of love and hate. And some were unsure if they was playing games or just trying to kill her. Ultimately, it was revealed that he was responsible for her death. Lil J denied Von being behind the hit. If you ask him, there's no way Von would have gotten one up on KI.
People are saying King Von, you know, he ended KI.
So you knocking the fuck off, man. Hell no, that shit false, man. They need to go put that shit, the rest of that bogus shit they putting out there.
Fans online think it would be the smartest to just let it go and let them both rest in peace. R.I.P. Von, R.I.P. KI. Don't pick sides. We don't know him. In March of 2019, Tyreek was found shot in southwest Atlanta after a fight broke out during a house party. Witnesses claim that a verbal altercation got out of control and quickly went left. The argument actually came to a pause for about an hour, but it resumed afterwards, and when it did, guns were drawn, and the rest is history. One man was dead and another 4 were injured. It's believed that King Von and perhaps others from Chicago were behind the hit. Why Tyreek? Well, he was associated with the Bloods, and that is probably why the argument happened in the first place. Durk was always fascinated with Von, and he only wanted to see him win. Nobody can doubt that.
Von was Von before we made him Von to the world. You know what I'm saying? He was always him and me, like, you know what I'm saying? So when he got on, it was like perfect.
There's a lot of things to be said about King Von. Von was a rising star in the rap game, known for his raw and authentic storytelling. He was able to connect with fans who related to his experiences growing up in the streets and navigating gang life. However, his life was cut short due to his involvement in multiple violent incidents, including shootings and homicides. While his music may have been influential, it's important to acknowledge the impact of his actions and the harm caused to the families of those affected by his violence. The truth is that King Von's legacy is complicated. and he's remembered both as a talented artist and as someone who was deeply involved in a dangerous and deadly lifestyle. In the end, his story serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of gang life and the devastating consequences of violence. Many believe that if it wasn't for his music, he'd be no different from your average stone-cold serial killer. Moreover, nobody would miss Von after he himself got shot. King Von was absolutely a serial killer. He seriously got off on killing, and got off even more trolling those he was about to kill, or the family or friends of those he killed. It's all he thought about. It's absolutely consumed him. If he didn't rap, no one would think it's sad that a cold-hearted killer got killed. And another important point that was raised that was sometimes gangbangers aren't considered serial killers, even though there is virtually no difference between someone doing it alone and doing it with your homies from the block. What's crazy is people don't think about gangbangers being serial killers. This is so important. What's y'all's take on King Von? You really think he was responsible for the deaths of so many people, or do people tend to put his hits to his name just because of the persona and street rap? Let us know what you think about it down in the comments section below. As always, thanks for watching. If you like this video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Remember to keep it RIZZLE.